How'd you do? All right, I'm gonna offer up just some answers on this particular number 8 for you. Okay, A is actually 90 degrees. If you're just copying, that's not gonna help, right? Be sure to focus and tell me what the strategies were when you put these together. I actually did them in this order because it's half of B, which is 180 degrees, where B degrees, that's going to be 180 degrees. And then when you find C, you should have found C is equal to 110 degrees. D is going to be equal to 35 degrees. And E should actually be equal to 70 degrees. Now, if you got a different answer, perhaps I'm wrong. If you can prove me wrong, please do. I love this stuff. Now, how'd you do over here, Pythagorean theorem? Was it difficult? It's been a minute, but not too long. We did it in our trig unit before Christmas. So we can see that we're looking for a hypotenuse, which also happens to be the diameter across the circle. Since this is a diameter, we know that this is 180 degrees. If you half that 180 degrees, you can figure out that this is a right angle. When you do that, you know that you can use the Pythagorean theorem. So then we get to the fact that this is a leg and it is 8, and this is a leg and it is 15. And so we can now do 8 squared. We know that 8 squared is actually equal to 64. And I need a stylus so bad, right? And a pad. And then we can add that to the second leg. We know that we're adding on this right triangle because this part right here is a right triangle. 15 squared. And what is 15 squared? I know what it is faster than I can write it on here. That's actually going to be 225. And when we add those together, we get 289. And the square root of that is going to be 17. Now, what I'm doing is taking the time to actually show my work. So make sure. Now, if I don't want to work ahead, but again, I did give you the ability to be able to fast forward through these videos. You don't want to fast forward if this is meaningful to you, okay? And again, how do we find the answer? We're going to take the square root of that. If this is repeat, please fast forward. The square root of 289 actually equals the length of D right here, which ends up being 17. Great job. Just a previous concept. Now, overlapping. So let's talk about overlapping arcs. And by overlapping arcs, I mean that let's look at arc AD first. We'll look at it first, and then we'll actually look at it two different ways. There's actually two angles. There's angle A to B to D, but it is an inscribed angle, but there's a second one, A to C to D. Now, I'm going to clean that up just a little bit with my eraser because what it basically means is that this angle formed by this vertex B and the angle formed by this vertex C are actually congruent to one another. I have a great app I want you guys to play with. It's from Algebra. We'll be doing that tomorrow since I'm missing third period so bad. And they're going to have to play catch up. So I don't want to get too far ahead of them. So we're going to do a little bit of instructional time and a little bit of independent learning. You can push yourself as hard as you want to today, just as long as you're pushing, right? All right. So it says if two inscribed angles intercept the same arc, we're going to put same, and then we're going to put the word arc right here. Again, both of those we'll call it angle B by its vertex and angle C by its vertex, are going to be congruent to one another because of the endpoints and the arc that they're intercepting. Those again are going to be equal. Now, I like to think of it like a little mask. I know it sounds silly, but whatever works, you know? So I like put little eyes on it like this, and it kind of helps me remember that the mask problem, it's equal. So I've got two little eyes on it. Again, angle B and angle C are going to be congruent to one another. But if you look at the picture again, there's a second set, and that would be this angle here formed with A and D. Now they also have exit points at the same place. That is to say, angle B to A to C. This is the intercepted arc, BC. But so is angle B to D to C. Same arc, right? Well, what do we know? That those two, it's like an upside down mask, are also going to be equal to one another. So I put the little marks on that to help. So as we're looking at number 10, we see if we're looking for, and I'll just use it with marks, this one is 73 degrees, but so is the angle A, which is over here. That's also 73 degrees. Since it's looking for BAC, I know the answer would actually be 73 degrees. Incidentally, C is 31. Again, that's going to be 73 degrees. I have room to type it. So let's go back to our mask scenario. Do you see the eyes? The eyes are equal to one another. Sometimes I accentuate the eyes in the mask a little bit. Do you see what I'm talking about? Just to make them show up a little bit better. So again, this time though, it's not asking for that one. So retro, we're going to have to think about this one just a little bit more. No, actually, yeah, that one's also equal. That's 83 degrees. Sorry. Don't really have to think on that one. This one ends up being 81 degrees. And this one, you're going to have to do a little bit of algebra, but I'll get you started. Pause the video and give it a shot first. Okay, you tried. Hopefully you set something equal. And that's our two equations that are here. You should be at x equals 10. Be sure to show your work on that one. It certainly does help. However, like on a multiple choice test, it's going to be a little bit easier to do. So let's back out of that and kind of figure out, how did she come up with x equals 10? So I'm going to move that guy down here just so that was just for anybody that was fast forwarding. Again, you can fast forward through all of this as well. So when we set these equal, we're going to do 10x minus 47 is going to be set equal to 6x minus 7. And then we begin to work algebra. So what am I going to do first? I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides of the equation. Subtracting 6x from here, also subtracting 6x from the other side. When I do, I end up with 4x, and that's on my left-hand side, minus 47 is equal to, we zeroed out our x's on the right-hand side of the equation, negative 7. And then we begin adding the 47 to both sides. Again, adding 47 to both sides of the equation. And when we do that, we end up with 4x is equal to 40. And then we divide both sides by 10, and we can see how x equals 10 after we divide both sides by, we divide both sides by 4. We end up there. All right, so I hope this helped. That will be our part 3, and I'm saving this one best for last.